Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for being on the call. We've got the large majority of chambers of commerce in the state represented here today, as well as most of the economic development organizations in the state as well on this call. So I want to thank you for hopping on here quickly. I know we didn't give you a lot of notice on this call or details on what it's about. So let me just jump right in. I'm coming in kind of hot today. So we are reaching out to you out of a concern for our economy first. So we are all on the front lines of economic development in one fashion or another. We are seeing the impacts day by day on the economy of our state that COVID-19 has caused. We're seeing people choose to drive on down the road because of concerns about COVID. We're seeing crises in consumer confidence in many places, and we're seeing businesses that are directly impacted with COVID going from worker to worker, from workers to consumers, and so on. So I'm reaching out to you today to ask for your help as we try to do our part as economic development business people to get this thing under control, because we are talking about the health of our economy as a whole in the state and in all of the communities that you represent. So why don't we go ahead and start the slideshow, please? So go to the next slide. I'm obviously not Secretary Norman. I'm not the health guy. I'm the business guy. But we're going to start with this chart just to give you a sense of what's going on. And I know we get hit with a lot of data all the time, but this is pretty sobering data here in front of us. So if you think back to April and when things were first shutting down in the state and what it felt like at that time, it's kind of a scary time across our state. And compare the numbers back in April to where we are right now. As you can see, things have skyrocketed in terms of the total number of cases across the state. This is a disturbing trend. The virus is spreading rapidly and it's getting worse, and it's not just impacting people's health, it is impacting the health of our economy. So the time for us to take action to stop this trend is now, and it's really going to take all hands on deck, particularly including those of us who are in chambers, who are economic development professionals, to step up as we try and keep people safe as we go into the winter months. Next slide. So with her executive order yesterday, Governor Kelly took a step toward reversing this trend that is threatening both our health and our economic well-being. The order will go into effect on November 25th, which is the day before Thanksgiving. And that is for counties that don't already have a face covering order of some fashion. This gives counties, and there are, I think, about 75 counties that do not have a mask order at this time. This gives them a week to determine a solution for themselves that makes sense in their local context. We realize that communities across the state are different. They have different needs, they have different opportunities, they have different cultures. And so that's why there is a week here for your counties to come up with a solution that works for you. Now, the governor has pursued with this order and with the points I'm going to tell you here in a second, a bipartisan, multifaceted approach that isn't just about an order, but it's really about us working together as Kansans to get a handle on this situation. So the governor has followed through on requests from Republican leaders for a number of items, including a public health campaign that has the Kansas Hospital Association, the Kansas Chamber, Farm Bureau, and others that will begin right before Thanksgiving, educating Kansans on why this matters, why face coverings, why masks work, and what we can do to keep ourselves and our neighbors and loved ones safe. We've also, Governor's partnered with the Kansas Leadership Center, KLC, to mobilize their network, which is more than 12,000 alumni across the state, to hold community conversations, socially distanced, of course, across the state to continue to educate folks, increase the level of engagement around this issue, and encourage local communities to follow these common sense steps that can slow and we hope ultimately stop the spread of COVID-19. Governor Kelly is also restarting tomorrow her open press biweekly call with county commissioners, with local emergency managers and the legislature, where she gives updates on COVID, best practices, and where there's Q&A with state response leaders. So Dr. Norman at KDHE, General Weishar, and others. So these are the steps that were recommended by a broad range of stakeholders: Republicans, Democrats, business leaders, nonprofit leaders, public health experts, and where we feel like there is a lot of agreement. What matters to me most as Secretary of Commerce is that we're doing what we can to keep our economy open, though. That's where we are focused, and I know that that's where you as chambers and economic development organizations are focused as well. And so you can see that Republican governors in surrounding states have done the same thing that Governor Kelly is doing, and that this is a bipartisan effort to keep our economy moving and shutting down this virus as a whole. We know that a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work, which is again why Governor Kelly's new executive order gives counties 1 week to create their own local face covering ordinance before they will be opted into a statewide mask policy. We want counties to do what works best for them. So I'm reaching out to you today, to chambers and economic development organizations, because you all are leaders in your communities. People look to chambers, they look to economic development professionals as trusted guides, as people that they know are concerned about keeping communities moving. And, you know, the reality of this situation is that consumer confidence is everything. So we're not talking about anything other than the fact that with the uncontrolled spread of this virus, people will stay in and they won't spend. They won't go to restaurants and bars. They won't go to stores because they're worried. And if we cannot get the consumer confidence side of this equation addressed, then it doesn't matter how much stimulus money gets poured in, because people aren't going to spend. So it is on us on the front lines to do our part and to speak up about these good common sense practices: wearing a mask, doing social distancing, and having good hygiene as we go into the winter months. I'm asking you, as my peers, as my colleagues, to step up and ask your boards to step up and communicate to your elected leadership in your counties the importance of having a face covering ordinance of some fashion, whether it's one you want to come up with on your own in your county, or whether it's adopting the governor's order, one or the other, so that we can get this under control. People will listen to you. You are trusted, you are wise, and you've got a platform that not very many people have. So next slide, please. We are going to have a toolkit which we will make available to all of you and to anybody that is interested in it, which includes very basic, clear visuals that you can use on social media, you can use on websites, you can use in settings. Next slide. And this toolkit is free, it's easy. If you have ideas on ways that we can help you, maybe you don't have a design budget or anything like that, that's fine. Tell us what you need and we will do our part to get you the right type of materials that you can use in your community. We can brand them for you, whatever it is. The point is, though, you're there and we want the message to come from you as much as possible as local leaders who are trusted and who care about keeping our economy open. So we will be sharing all these graphics with everyone who's on this call, and we'd like you to continue to use them. Go on to the next slide. one of the taglines that we've been using at Commerce and that you'll be hearing a lot from us is mask on, economy strong. And we believe in that. We believe in the very simple solution that masks provide. And we're going to be having materials, including masks themselves, that are branded with this logo. If you would like some, let us know. But bottom line here, as I said, I'm not Secretary of Health. I'm Secretary of Commerce, and I'm looking at this situation and seeing very simply, the sooner we can get this virus under control, the sooner we can get our economy 100% back on track, and hopefully not just back on track, but running hotter and faster and better than ever. I think that's possible. We've had on many, many fronts this year a really good economic development, recruitment, and business development year at Commerce, and that is thanks to the efforts of so many of the people on this call. But just imagine what we could get done if we didn't have COVID-19 hanging on and slowing down our economy, being a drag on our local economies. So I think maybe we have one more slide. So those are my points. I'm asking for your help. We're also asking for your ideas if you think there are things that we can do in your particular context to better support you. I'd like to hear it. We have a chat box that is that's available for you to ask your questions or your comments. I'll get to as many as we possibly can. I think we've got about 20 minutes here. And so with that, open it up for questions.
Mr. Secretary, we have our first couple of questions in the chat box. We have a question saying, how do counties order the branded masks?
So if you would like some branded masks, send an email to, let's see. Okay. No, I don't want them. Send an email to backtobusiness@ks.gov. If you would like some branded masks with the Mask on Economy Strong logo.
The next question is, where will the social media toolkit be located?
So we're going to, after this call, send out an email that provides either a link or the toolkit itself on that. So you'll be getting that shortly, within an hour.
We have one that's a resolution or something similar that we can use to bring to our county commissioners.
Tricia, let me get back to you on that. So the way this works is that the governor's executive order will go into effect on the 25th unless your county acts to pass a resolution of its own that's different. There are currently 24, 25 counties that have their own face covering ordinance. And, I think they all vary in some fashion, but they have that kind of commonality about the face covering requirement. We'd be happy to provide you with a list of what those counties are or anything else that's helpful. Just let us know. You've got my email, Tricia.
Another question, actually, this is more of a comment saying, I would suggest including cities in the conversation along with counties.
Yeah, I agree, Murray. If you're in Moundridge and, which is in McPherson County, and you want to go one way and the other jurisdiction wants to go the other, I think it's important that there be that level of communication. We've approached, we're recommending counties first, but that's not in lieu of cities. It's, the point is to get people covered and to get this thing under control. So whatever fashion gets that done is good with me. But point well taken, Murray.
Another question asking if there are graphics available, including people of color.
There should be, and we will, if we don't have them, we will fix that.
Another question, will any of the graphics be translated?
Let us know what language you would like them to be translated into, languages you'd like to have them translated into, and we will do our best to get that done.
I don't know if we had answered this one already. Are the graphics being emailed today?
Yes.
We have a suggestion for a listserv to share ideas.
I think that's a good idea. Ryan and comms team, can you follow up on that?
Sure thing. How do we identify the right KLC contact to work with in our own local community?
I don't know the answer to that. Is that Vernon Hurd?
Yes, it is, I think.
Okay, Vernon, I don't know. Good question. I'm going to have Abby follow up on that, and we'll get back to you.
Similar
and also,
question.
Greg Kendall, thanks for all the good work that you folks are doing in Wyandotte County. We appreciate it very much.
Similar question, will KLC be utilizing the same graphics and promotions?
I don't know. You know, these are graphics and promotions that we've developed as economic development and chamber folks who are focused on business. So they will certainly have access to these, but I don't know precisely what graphics and promotions they'll be using.
Will we be able to watch this recording from start to finish again?
Yes, we will send it out.
Is there a list of Kansas chambers supporting this, and do you want letters of support?
There is not currently a list. Let me get back to you on that. You know, I think in terms of letters of support, that's not so much what we need as you just going out there and being vocal in your communities about the importance of mask on, economy strong, and making these good public health decisions so that we can ensure that our economy is strong. So I wouldn't worry about sending me a letter. I'd worry about using your social media, using your personal networks, using your board members to convey the importance of this in your local communities.
Can we add our logo to the graphics?
Absolutely.
Can we share this with members like IKEA to make with their logo?
I don't think we've got any restrictions on the use of these at all. We want them to go far and wide and to make sense in your communities. So you tell us what you need and we will do that.
Are there any videos being produced to share on social media?
Not yet, but Ryan, you're our video guy, so maybe you can work on that for me, because I think that's a good idea.
Are there any radio spots being produced we can use locally?
Not at this point, but if there are, we will let you know and make it available to you.
Here's a comment. I'd love some discussion brainstorms on how people are handling businesses who oppose the mask mandate.
Enforcement is with the county attorney.
Yeah, so you know, I think that is a great you know, discussion board item, and I think there's a lot of value in all of us, particularly folks who are in local communities, talking about what works and what doesn't in terms of talking with these businesses. I mean, what I'm seeing and hearing from many of you who are on this call is that increasingly, like you take hospitality, for example, I was hearing about a community last night where their transient guest tax revenues are plummeting because the lodging establishment in that community has been against masks. And so you've got travelers coming in and they see that people aren't masked up and they turn right around and they go down the road. And for those of us who are in organizations that are funded in part by a bed tax, that's not just bad for those businesses, but it's bad for our organizations. And so this is a important thing where people are voting with their feet. And so that's what I'm seeing in terms of how to precisely handle those businesses from a comms perspective. I would love to hear best practices that folks have on that.
There are a couple of questions that are kind of similar, so I'll wrap them into, are we able to help produce scripts to make videos for social media? And is it acceptable if communities make their own scripts and produce their own videos?
Yes. So this is intended to be a decentralized effort where we are providing you with the support that makes sense in your community. So this is not a top-down thing where we're saying, here's the logos, here's the stuff, this is what you have to use. Not at all. This is a voluntary thing. I'm asking you kind of colleague to colleague for your help so that we can keep our economy strong. The mechanics of what works in Cherokee County may be very different from what works in Brown County or in Finney County or any county in the state. And so you tell us what you need and how we can help you. And absolutely, and if you want help on writing a script or you wanted a framework for a script, we can work that up, and then you can insert what makes sense, or you can edit that for your context. It's up to you. We are here to support what you need.
I think, unless I've missed any, I believe those are the questions so far within the chat box. There are other comments and I think helpful discussion items, but that should cover most of the direct questions.
Sounds good. And I see Greg Kindle's point there. He says, if you have a regular update by your local hospital or perhaps public radio, we've seen support to having economic development on to discuss the role of masks, et cetera, on the economy. That's a great point. You know, radio in particular is a very effective tool in many of our communities, and they're often looking for content, looking for speakers. Many of you may already be on a regular radio show on a weekly or monthly basis. And so please use those opportunities as you see fit to support the importance of mask on, economy strong, or whatever you want to call it in your community. But the bottom line is we're trying to keep people safe so that we can keep our economy strong. I guess we covered all of the questions then. And so I want to thank everybody for hopping on here again on such short notice. You know, we're going to get through this thing, but the sooner we can get through this thing, the better. And masks have such an important role to play in getting us through. And we can influence this. We all have the power, and as leaders in our community who know our neighbors, who know our businesses, to talk about why this is important and how life can get back to normal. So thank you all. I appreciate it very much. And please reach out to us. Let us know how we can help you, how we can support you. We will stay in touch by email. If we need to do another one of these calls, we certainly will. And that's it. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.